people will watch whatever they want, and enjoy what they want, and they might not enjoy what I think is funny, and you know. And I make a lot of videos because I'm just trying to maybe hit an algorithm on one of them and catch some views. So, but I'm back to making my favorite snack again. Like I said, look how easy this is, you know. And make sure you cook that bacon before you take a shower because it'll cook right in your hair. And I'll tell you though, this is becoming one of my go-to meals, you know. Hot coffee and some bacon and lettuce sandwiches. But yeah, today I figured what a good topic. I'll just bring up some of the old stories. And it's funny, you're trying to recall all the stories and they're hard, you know. They're hard to remember, you know. When you want to remember them all. When you get in a position where you got to tell them, you know, and try to go back and remember, it's really hard sometimes to pull up memories because 20 years now ago. Time goes by so fast, it's just gone, you know. And got a little record of them here by talking about them and showing a couple little pictures and showing how Green Bay's changing, and I'll always have these videos as memories, you know. Before they're all torn down and all the memories are lost and gone. So we used to get up and boy, we would laugh. And he'd always and then my buddy would be there, Dave, and all these other characters, and the Bible thumper would be next door. And I have nothing against the Bible. We just laugh about it because she'd be telling everybody else how to live, you know, their lives there. And she was an alcoholic herself, drinking every day and thumping the Bible, telling everybody how about Jesus and asking for handouts and just the characters, you know. Christ, we're living in a dump, you know, and there'd be people out there working at that ministry telling everybody that lived with us, trying to tell other people how to live and stuff, and we'd be laughing, and Dave would roll his eyes at me, and we'd just start laughing. And I have nothing against the Lord. I believe in God, and it's just not something I want to get into on this. I'm just telling stories. It's not a topic, you know, like I don't want to get into religion and stuff. And that's not what this is about at all. But sometimes when you're telling stories, you bring up people in the past, and just the way we were feeling about it, you know, we were laughing, you know. They'd come to your door, knock on your door, and tell you about the Lord, and then they'd see I was having a beer, and they'd be like, "Can I get a beer?" You know what I mean? I'd be handing out beers to everybody. I didn't care. Without discretion. I always got the beers back, you know, in the long run. Anytime somebody would have a party, they'd invite me over. If they had to sell a car, I was the go-to guy to sell all the cars in the neighborhood, and I always got a couple bucks from that. I always made my money back, broke even. Hand out a beer one day and get my money back another on a party, or that guy down there I showed you that would light up that big fire. It's this guy. We're in the middle of the city. We're in the middle of the city. As you can see, we're a little bit off the side there, so we got away with a lot more. But middle of the city, he'd have fires. He'd be drinking. The cops would show up every weekend. He'd have fires so high that you could get away with a lot more back then. It's completely different now. That police department pays, I think it's one of the top paying police departments in the nation, you know, $100,000 a year or something like that starting or something. And it was just different back then. Back then, that little police station only had, I forgot what they said at the time, but it was like 6 officers or something odd thing. I don't want to be quoted, but it was a really small police station. And they were kind of community. They still are, but it was really, there wasn't, the city of Ashwaubenon was so small that these guys these police officers almost knew every one of us, you know, from coming out there and the fires and And we got away with a lot of stuff. You wouldn't be able to do it now. Could you imagine living in that condo and you come outside and you light up a big old fire pit and you got a fire this high with 30 logs in there rolling down the... Could you imagine what would be going on? You'd be in jail in about 5 minutes. People out there passing out in the... people passing out, doors missing off the front of the houses, people passing out drinking. Could you imagine? That's what it used to be. Now look at it. Now it's just primed and pressed, you know. You lit up a fire in that parking lot, you're going to jail. Nowadays. Anyway, I thought what a great little story to tell today. And I made the bacon, now I'm going to cook a little bacon sandwiches. And I'm just firing off little videos. I'm just firing off videos whenever I get a chance to make them and give you guys an idea of the, a whole idea of like, now when I tell a story, maybe if I get more viewers and stuff, they can look back and then everybody's kind of got, if I bring up William Charles Court, you'll have an idea of like what I'm talking about, you know. So there's a reference point for everybody to. A little past the 3-second rule there, but I even hesitated and thought about, should I pick this up off the ground on camera? And I'm not hiding nothing from the viewer. I'm over it. Make my little bacon sandwiches. Doesn't get much easier than that. You cook the bacon before you take your shower so that you don't get it all in your hair and you're not all sweaty and just bacon and lettuce. And I made my 3 little videos today, and hopefully somebody gets enjoyment out of one of them. You know, that's all that matters to me. Is I know a couple people are, because I see they're getting watched by at least 20-30 people. So that means there's more than just 2 of us out there watching them, getting a little bit of enjoyment, maybe laughing at how goofy we are. And this I'll be honest with you, I wish I had more pictures of that apartment, because I'll tell you, this kitchen here almost resembles it in a way, with the paint the way it is and stuff. Because I used to paint my own walls. We'd start drinking, and it didn't matter what color. I just got sick of looking at the walls. I'd have people coming in, 20 people smoking cigarettes, you know, so the walls would be all gross. So we just paint them any color I could find, you know. Back then people would put paint out and stuff. It was different. You guys remember 20 years ago, you could almost get paint for free on the side of the road, you know. So anytime we got paint that somebody didn't like or whatever, tiles, or we just mishmashed everything together, free TVs, and I don't think I ever paid for one dang thing. On the way home, you could find anything you want, from couches to paint to siding. You could get anything you want on the side of the road, you know. Now everybody sells it on Facebook Marketplace for $100, you know. Back then, a gallon of paint was 99 cents, $3. Now you can't get a gallon of paint under, what, $35, $40 for a good gallon of paint. $40. But yeah, so I told you guys some stories today. I made some sandwiches. I made bacon. And I hope somebody finds some of these videos just interesting and maybe a little funny sometimes, and maybe comforting. Or finish today with this little video for you guys of me making my I gotta get better at the thumbnails, you know. Man, I'm trying to recall more stories so I can make you guys laugh. I'm trying to think of some funny ones, you know. Try to come up with another funny one before I turn this off. Let me think. I don't know how bacon Just bacon, butter, lettuce, and bread can be so good. This is better than. I don't know if it's just because it's comforting and I've always had them, but this is better. I'd rather have this than going to McDonald's. For sure. Fantastic. That's probably the only thing I haven't done on my videos yet. Mukbang, they called it. Maybe I should cook whole plates of lasagna and eat them. Mukbang. A nice hot coffee, some milk and sugar goes great with these bacon sandwiches. But anyway, yeah, we had all the buddies coming and going. I'd be selling cars. Everybody would be bartering. Nobody had money, so everybody would be like, well, I'll do this for you if you do that for me, or... Cars blown up everywhere. Half the cars in the parking lot didn't run. Anytime I wanted to make a couple bucks, all I had to do was walk out the front door. Somebody's car would be smoking. I didn't even have to. We've seen, I don't know how many cars start on fire there. Going to Packer games, walking to Packer games, getting in for free at halftime, people giving us tickets. You can't even do that no more. They don't even have paper tickets now. You can't even get in no more. We used to walk up there at halftime if we were drunk or whatever. And tailgaters people would get too drunk to go to the game, and you could get into a game if you really wanted to for nothing. Watch Packer practice. 1 block away from anything. All the bars. I could eat these all day. I don't even know how you could call them unhealthy. They taste so good, they should be considered really unhealthy. But what, a little bit of bacon? You got lettuce, which ain't bad for you. It doesn't. You got bread and butter. I mean, not even real butter. Probably better off. I wish they sold butter in a tub. You know. You get the butter in them sticks, and they're always hard to. It's just. I'm surprised they don't make butter in a tub. It's always sticks, and I get it. It's probably for measuring and stuff, but it's so much more work, isn't it, to not have a tub? Anyway, she gets the snack, you know, and she thinks she's getting a real big snack, you know, but all she gets is a little bit of lettuce and bread left. Look at her. She's waiting. Look at. And all she'll get is this little bitty piece of bread. Here, I'll leave her. Maybe sometimes I'll leave her a little chunk of bacon just to get her excited, you know. Man, those were some good times. Now, my buddy, I used to be in college there, and I'd go to automotive school, and I was only 20, early 20s, but I was the oldest one in college, even being in my early 20s. And all the kids were like 18 besides me. And they'd all come over, and party all night. I'd sneak them in the bars because I had caused so much trouble, I told you. Not real trouble, just, you could tell probably. Could you imagine me drinking? And I'm already on YouTube like I am now, sober, can you imagine? Loudmouth and stuff, so I knew all the bouncers. And probably got in arguments with every one of them, but they kind of liked me. Nothing got too far over the edge, and they'd tell me to go home, and I usually would. So I could sneak all my buddies in that were 18 at college there. They'd all be over every night, because I'd get them all into the bars. Just they'd walk in with me, or I knew all the back entrances, or we had me and Drew and all types of characters there coming and going too. Drew and man, all types of characters. What a scene. I still wish I could find some pictures, because I know there's got to be some Polaroids of the place. I just know it somewhere. Somebody's got them somewhere. Like I said, what a TV special that would be, huh? The only thing that comes to mind is Trailer Park Boys is somewhat... Obviously, it wasn't that over the top, but... You had it all there. I've seen it all. I've seen dope in closets and... I've seen it all there. Just like Trailer Park Boys, not much different. Obviously, nobody was shooting guns off in the... it's happened, actually, but not like that. That's over the top, but... There was a couple bubbles in there. Guys like bubbles. Yeah. I was pretty much kind of like Ricky, I suppose. There was a bunch of characters. There's a guy that was always in a wheelchair. He'd always get arrested for you really had to try to get arrested for public intoxication too. And he'd have his American flag hooked up to his wheelchair, and he'd cause trouble for them cops every day. Laugh, and he'd always let him out. He never served more than a day, but I'll never forget him. He'd fly by in his electric wheelchair with his American flag. One of Birdman's buddies. There was only 2 washing machines in the whole complex, and everybody would get into wars. People that couldn't afford to pay $1 for the laundry or whatever would take other people's clothes out. And I can't even tell you how many times I heard people screaming downstairs. People taking other people's clothes out of the dryer and washing and throwing them on the floor, and stealing their quarters, and sleeping down there. Bums sleeping down there. Crazy. Because people would move out, and then they'd come back and sleep in there because they knew there was no security or nothing. So they'd come back, and you'd be finding people sleeping down there. Nobody called the cops on them. We didn't care as long as they didn't take my stuff or nothing. You go downstairs and do your laundry. You didn't know who'd be sleeping down there sometimes, or... Anyway, look at, she thinks she's getting the big treat, but all she's really getting is a little bit of bread, and a little bit of butter. You can lick off of there. believe it or not, she'll eat the lettuce. She don't like it very much, but she'll eat it. Look at her, she's trying to go around it. If she's desperate, she'll eat it for a snack. She's got food, it's just... Don't even tell me that dog food's good for these animals. I don't care what brand you're repping. I don't care how it's made or what they say on the packaging. There's nothing better than just some regular solid. Don't even tell me, because look at how much she even enjoys the lettuce. And that's just plain lettuce with a little bit of smoked bacon flavor, probably. Look at it.